WWDC 2021, how should I even put it in a nice way? It was probably the most inconsequential WWDC in recent years, if not just a very boring one. And I'm not saying that just to diminish Apple's efforts. The whole world is at a halt, so we welcome any sort of new changes. But even so, I think it's important for us to realize that most of the new features that we're seeing at WWDC are not actually new. They're just new for Apple. And today, let's take a quick look at iOS 15. Not just about the features of iOS 15, but about what iOS 15 means for consumers and developers in the future. Hey everyone, this is Clem from Future Reference. Although macOS or OS X has been around for much longer, iOS has since become the spotlight of WWDC because there are just way more people using iOS compared to macOS, even after iOS has been split into iOS and iPadOS back in WWDC 2019. But the main point I'm trying to make is that if the iOS announcements at WWDC are boring, it kind of sets the tone for other Apple announcements at WWDC as well. And in my opinion, that is exactly what happened at WWDC 2021. To examine what exactly went wrong with iOS 15, I think this screenshot can give you quite a good idea. On the outside, all of these features look great, but then I think it soon becomes clear that none of these features are actually that groundbreaking. In my opinion, there hasn't been a single feature that invites a wow or an audible gasp from the audience. Not that there was a live audience, but you get what I mean. None of them were innovative features. Instead, a lot of iOS 15 features were just features Apple has borrowed from its very developers. For example, SharePlay, especially the ability to watch movies together with your friends using SharePlay. This function is not unheard of. To pick one example, on Disney Plus, you can already watch a movie with your friends using a feature called Group Watch. And you know what's special about Group Watch? It's cross-platform. For iOS users, the SharePlay function is limited to be used with other Apple users. And I know it's some sort of architectural limitation, but this is where I draw the line. This function is nice to have, but not essential. And you know which player is missing from SharePlay? Netflix, you know, just the most well-known, if not the biggest streaming service in the Western world. And I know this is not entirely Apple's fault. Netflix has a history of being reluctant to integrate with iOS. That's a history they've got. But then come on, there are already other readily available ways to watch Netflix with your friends. There's something called the Netflix Watch Party, and there's also an extension called Cena that allows you to host watch parties with Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime Video, Vimeo, HBO Max, Hulu, just covering all the bases. With SharePlay working only on Apple devices, you can only predict that the adoption of this feature is not going to be very high. Now, SharePlay is not the only example. There's a plethora of features Apple has borrowed for iOS 15. There are new features with the Photos app, including new interactive ways of managing and viewing your photographs. And the announcements of these features is quite opportune because Google Photos has just stopped offering free online unlimited storage on the 1st of June 2021. But it remains to be seen whether that strategy is effective at all. I've been using iCloud to store my photographs for quite some time now, and never have I ever craved looking at photos of myself. But if you are regular at appreciating photos of yourself, rest assured there will be new ways to do that on iOS 15. A similar situation is happening for Apple Maps. New AR capabilities and high-quality details like road markings have been announced for Apple Maps, but then these features can already be found or have already been announced for Google Maps. So again, Apple is just playing catch-up here. Also, these features are only available to a handful of regions, so most probably you can't even experience these features in your hometowns. And no, I'm not living in London, so I'm out of luck as well. Next up, let's turn to the Wallet tab. Apple is planning on adding support for house keys and government ID cards on iOS 15. But then, considering I'm in the UK and I don't own a place, I'm just renting a place, I don't think I'll be using either features very soon. Again, features that are nice to have, but not essential. The same thing is happening with FaceTime. FaceTime now works on other platforms like Windows and Android, which is definitely inspired by Zoom. Again here, no innovation at all. They're just trying to play catch up with iOS 15. Apple also introduced something called Intelligence, which was definitely inspired by Google Lens. The ability to extract text information from pictures has been Google's strength for quite some time, and the only good part about this, I guess, is that Apple is more keen on privacy matters and they would prioritize running these features offline using their neural engines rather than online on their service. And how can I forget the prime example of Apple integrating third-party app features into their operating system, and that would be the Weather app. Around March 2020, Apple has bought the world's best weather app, Dark Sky, and since then they have integrated those third-party features into the built-in weather app, including weather maps, new redesigned graphics, and also warning notifications before rain and snow. And Dark Sky, being a third-party app, is not going to be the only victim down the road. I've been using a weather app by Tomorrow.io, and I've been relying on that app for warnings before rain, snow, or wind. And with Apple launching these similar features in the weather app on iOS 15, I know for sure, very annoyingly, I will be ditching this app for the built-in weather app on iOS 15. Apple on the outside has always encouraged their developers to put forth their very best ideas. But with iOS 15, we have been given a reminder of this very annoying thing that Apple always do to their developers. The truth is that if you're a developer running an iOS app with some great useful features, that's always this chance that Apple would just snatch your ideas away and integrate your unique features into their operating systems. One example was Flux, from which Apple brought over the night shift feature to all of its operating systems, a feature that is designed to cut down blue light exposure to encourage better sleep in its users. As of now, Flux is still available on macOS as an independent app, but then its popularity is not matched with the times before night shift was announced for all of Apple's platforms. This tells you how much power Apple has to govern the success or death of an app. Apple's platforms may be quintessential to developers, but they can also spell doom to the very apps that developers create for these platforms. And don't get this the wrong way, Apple is still in a unique position to innovate with their hardware, given that hardware and software integration is still their strong suit. This is especially clear with the integration of the AirPods lineup with Apple devices. You can see the support of Dolby Atmos has been a plan for quite some time, considering how the AirPods Pro and AirPods Max will deliver the unique capabilities of spatial audio on Apple Music. This sort of hardware-software integration is something we've come to expect from Apple. But while Apple is doing all that, what we can see is Apple's lack of innovative ideas for iOS 15. Maybe it's something to do with the world being stuck in a pandemic, maybe that's what making Apple flounder. But if WWDC is any indication, a lot of new features down the road will just be features that Apple is recycling from their developers. Think about Night Shift from Flux, Apple Music from Spotify, Shazam integration from Apple buying Shazam, Weather app features from Dark Sky, Apple Maps features from Google Maps, Intelligence features from Google Lens. So yeah, have a look around your app library, have a good look around the App Store. You think you found a great app with some useful features? Well, Apple might just steal those features next year for iOS 16. Truth be told, there are some lovely features on iOS 15 I would still want to check out very soon, but WWDC 2021 is definitely one of the most disappointing ones in recent years. Still, do comment down below and tell me what you think about the iOS 15 features and WWDC 2021 overall. I would still really want to know what you think about them. For now, thank you so much for watching. This has been Clem, and I can't wait to see you again real soon on Future Reference.